right, welcome to a very special episode of the 28 to 3 podcast. We are privileged and honored to have one Clint Scroggs in studio.
There we go. Friend of the pod. Friend of all of us.
GFOP.
In real life, IRL.
Google him.
But yeah, we wanted to have Clint on the pod to talk about something that we're all involved in. This is a little bit of a break from Saints per se. You know, we might get into some Saints topics, but coming up soon, April 5th and 6th, is Hogs for the Cause.
Really?
All of us. Yeah. Clint, that's why you're here.
Shit.
Yeah.
We should get started.
He's funny for those of you who haven't figured that out yet. But we are all in Deadpork. This year it's Deadpork, the Errors Tour.
It is.
And there's 90-something teams in Hogs for the Cause. This is for all of you who aren't familiar with it. We're very familiar with it. And Clint is our fearless team captain. And so we wanted to bring him on so we could talk about what we do for our team, what Hogs does. And so for all of y'all who aren't familiar with it, can learn a little bit about how you can give back or be involved in a local New Orleans charity, something that's really fun every single year. So, Clint, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Obviously, you know, you guys are all good friends. You've all been a part of the team since the inception, really. You know, year one, it's been 9 years that we've had our own team.
Yeah, I was wondering because Hogs does the thing called the Hog of Fame, and they sent out a list to all the team via email, like who was new inductees, and I'm like, have we made it 10 yet?
It feels like it's been
but we'll have to
dog years.
Talk to, yeah.
From your perspective, absolutely.
Well, you being the one carrying a team of 12, doing 90% of the work on it.
So
I think that's probably the biggest problem.
Is it 12? I think we're single digits this year, I think.
Yeah, it's
I would say, I tell people every year, because Hogs keeps growing, which is awesome. They keep raising more money every year, which is amazing. I forget the grand total last year.
It's like 3 mil.
Was like $3 million.
Yeah.
All going towards the cause for, if we haven't mentioned it yet, is pediatric brain cancer. And every team seems to add more members every year, or like these teams become more robust. At least that's what it seems like. But ours, so I tell people we have more output. I feel like from like the smallest amount of people, like being like a kind of a known name out there. When I tell people like, yeah, we got like 10 dudes. They're like, wait, what? We have like 30.
I feel like there's ebbs and flows with head count.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, you know, we got more members than Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
And then other times it's like you look around, there's like 5 people, and you're like, where did everyone go?
It does ebb and flow. There was that one year where like a whole gang came in from Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I mean,
shout out Travis.
One of them ran point on pork butt that year.
Yeah, Travis was running
he stayed there the whole
on
time,
butts and ribs.
pretty sure.
He slept there. And he slept the whole time?
Yeah, I watched him.
He did not do anything.
Yeah. He slept during the day when someone else was awake at night.
But I mean, I feel like we have a good core of,
yeah,
you know, 10 to 12 people who, you know, throughout the year really contribute. You know, I mean, just we're geographically displaced. So you have your Baton Rouge contingent, you have, you know, like your just North Shore folks. So it's hard to really get everybody together like for any given thing. So we do a lot of events throughout the year.
Yeah.
You know, between like catering events and our dinner party series where it's a 5-course tasting menu, we're doing something every 6 weeks to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's really just, you know, who's available when, how do you drum up support when you need it.
Yeah.
Hogs itself, like it's a marathon. It starts Wednesday. It runs realistically through Sunday.
So like the team, like you're out there Wednesday. The festival itself, starts Friday?
Yeah, that starts Friday. I should probably look this up. I think like service starts at 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
God, is it that early now?
It's gotten early.
They
I
moved
think
it up.
I think the gates are at 3. But to back it up, so like we couldn't figure out what year we started. So the first year, so we're Deadpork now, a nice little ripoff of Deadpool, the movie, and we got like amazing branding.
Whoa. Rip off.
Come on.
Come on.
I say that
Improvement.
I say that in jest. Come on, guys.
I would have said inspired by the wonderful movie Deadpool.
It's a good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I watched it
Inspired.
last night again. It's fantastic.
2016 was our first year doing our own thing. For a couple years before that, I was on Neil McClure's team. That was McClure's Barbecue. He and I are good friends. And then it was one of those beach trips or something like that. We said we should do our own thing. So 16 was our first year. That was the infamous city park. I don't know, flooding like Noah.
Now, was that the first year of Deadpork, or were y'all under the first name?
No, that was the first year of Deadpork. We started out as Band of Hogs. So Justin
it was
Pelto,
you and Justin,
yeah, that was Justin and I as two Army veterans saying like we should do a World War II based thing, kind of like a Band of Brothers, but we were going to do 1 or 2 dishes per theater of war. So we're going to do European, North African, and then Pacific Front.
Just in case you didn't think some thought went into these things.
Oh, I mean, having been on the team with Clint now for all but the first year of Deadpork, I know there's usually some thought. Or if you don't
weren't
think
there the
about
first year?
The very first year of Deadpork, I wasn't officially on the team. I came out to Hogs. Yeah, because I wasn't there for the
That year was terrible.
I wasn't there for the City Park flood.
Did
No,
you come
we
out
did.
there?
I remember you being
I went
there.
out for like an hour, I think.
I didn't go.
I didn't help. I didn't help at all.
I think I may have
Modus
been.
operandi.
Common theme.
I may have been on
When I'm there, I usually help.
the beach
and then I
trip
get out
that
of it.
year, or it was that the beach trip was the fall after that.
I just remember the beach trip where you went fucking bananas with the donuts.
No,
You
that
were
was
gonna-
like 18.
yeah.
That was after we had been doing Deadpork for
Yeah.
A year
3
or
or
2.
4 years.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I totally shat on your idea for those donuts. Like,
Yeah, you did. I wasn't gonna bring it up. It's fun.
I
remember
listen,
that donut run.
I'll own it. It was good.
You destroyed the kitchen that year.
Yeah.
The thing is, like,
Not like Rafa and the Scotch eggs.
Jesus fucking.
Sorry, but that is the worst idea in
That's
Deadpork
another team
history.
member.
Trust me, I paid for it. I know.
One of the most difficult things to prepare.
You mean
ever.
Scotch eggs?
Yes.
Not my donuts.
No, not your donuts. The Scotch egg
So,
is
backstory-
so difficult
Backstory
in a
for
field.
anybody listening. Matt, very good friend, wanted to do Scotch eggs, which are incredibly difficult to execute, let alone in a tent in a field.
Restaurants struggle to do this. Good
Yes.
restaurants.
Yes.
Yeah, not easy. Long story short, he prepped it well, but the temperatures were not right. He dropped it in the oil overflowed, and then seeped into the insulation that lines in between most people's stove and ovens.
And this was during a test run at your house.
During a
right?
test run, while my house was listed, like my first house was listed to sell.
Not ideal.
So it smelled like absolute death. In my mind, I was like, well, I'm just going to go bake this thing off and try and get the gunk out of it. Turns out, that is wildly unsafe. Like, talk to an appliance person.
Did you
they're
start
like,
an oven fire?
You could have burned the entire
Yes.
city blocked out.
You put oil in the oven.
Yeah.
It's like, sir, you trying to make a bomb?
My house smelled like absolute chemical death for like 2 weeks.
Better than death.
A literal death, and or burning down, which turns out burning your house down is diminishing returns for your profit margin for selling your house.
I don't believe it.
So had to buy a brand new stove that got used one time, and then we sold that house, and they're like, wow, this is really new. I'm like, I fucking know.
You want to know why?
So yeah, Rafa cost me, I don't even know, $1,200 or something like that.
Don't worry, he's not counting Rafa.
That same year or the year before, he parked his car at my house, and it was 16. He parked his car at my house on Marshall Foch. Mm-hmm. His car flooded, so he had to buy a new car. Even
So
though
y'all
we're
are
not
even?
So much damage that year.
we're
Yeah,
not.
but that wasn't Clint's fault.
Yeah, I mean, acts of God. It's
Well,
not exactly dollar wise.
You
Even
did tell me how
but-
you clogged up the drain right next to his car for that day.
Well, I dumped
was
all the
the
bacon grease down there.
Hey, forward.
But yeah, so you
But
mentioned
Rafa's been an OG and been awesome in the team, though. Correct?
Rafa was
So
year
You don't want
one.
to talk too much shit, I guess.
Yeah, listen, Rafa's year one. He's been in
We give him a hard
every
time, yeah.
conversation. Like, listen, love the dude. He's one of my great friends. He has 100 ideas every year, 98 of which are just fucking terrible. But every once in a while, he gets one of those things where I'm like, you know what?
We'll
do
give it a
you
shot.
and run with it. Like, he did gnocchi the year that we were on Bell Chase.
That's also a bad idea, though. I'm sorry.
Tremendously bad idea to try and make smoked gnocchi. So he would bake the potatoes in the smoker. Moisture is your enemy with gnocchi, and he was doing it in the rain in Bell
Outside.
Chase in a swamp. But it was legit. Like, I mean,
Hey.
he won like top
10. He was eighth.
He was like 8th or 9th, something like
eighth
that.
place. That was the year him and Dante
Dante.
both had top 10 placing dishes. And the running joke for anyone who knows about Hogs and is listening and knows Deadpork, but anyone who doesn't, our running joke is that we're looking forward to finishing 60th and or worse or last.
Except social media, right?
All the food categories. Now, we'll get back to the social media part.
I'm sure.
I think I have an in on that. But Clint knows about that this year. Been a different arrangement this year. But but the thing is, we had never placed even close to top 10 in any food category. In that one year,
I remember the year
in Plaquemines, all of a sudden, they called our name from the stage to tell us, we're inside the top 10 on anything. We're like, no way.
Really?
And then,
Are you sure?
we came in top 10 to something else the same year.
Sauce.
It was Dante's.
Eric.
Sauce was 6th. It was Eric or Steve.
Yeah.
I don't remember who made
It was Eric.
It was Eric.
Eric.
Honestly, the crowning achievement was
Eric was
getting
one
top
year-
10 in party.
Party.
Yeah.
That
Friday
is the
night
crowning
party.
Friday
top
night
10.
party.
Was
And a
that
10 by
karaoke?
10.
That was the karaoke year.
That is
Karaoke.
the crowning achievement, and that's the high water mark. We'll probably never equal that again.
In my
For context, to do that in a 10 by 10
It's amazing.
to compete with the huge tents for party is
think-
insane.
I think it was
That's an insane
yeah.
award.
the last year that was possible, considering how much the parties at Hogs have garnered. Okay.
Yeah.
Another education point. So if you come to Hogs Friday night, there are varying size teams. So you got teams in literal 10 by 10. Well, not literal because we kind of extended it to larger than 10 by 10. But then you got teams with like 80 by 80 foot, like plot sizes, right? And some of these teams just like completely create
Double decker.
a nightclub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
nightclub.
And so Friday, it's like the bands might end at 10. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but once the bands end, then the team's parties just fire up.
Yeah.
And it's like
and some of those
it
big
rivals
boys,
some of this shit you'll find downtown.
That was the year
you
the
know?
American Idol kid came. Lane
Hardy.
Lane Hardy
Yeah.
came
We
and
had
sang karaoke.
Hashtag me too.
Deadpork had Lane Hardy at the karaoke tent, and it was funny. He just walks up and is like, it just like looked like any other kind of country kid from Hammond area, and like his blue jeans and boots and the swoosh haircut and country accent. He's like, "Hey, y'all like American Idol?" Like, I mean, we watch it.
We're
I
like,
mean, we've
we had
seen
no
it.
clue.
He's like,
We had no clue.
I'm gonna be on this season. Can I sing a song? We're like, yeah, sure. I'm sure you're really good. And then he just steps up and just like, wait, you sound like you're on the radio, dude.
He sang 3 songs. I
Well,
think.
and do you remember, not to be like dictator Clint, but like my edict for that? Because he looked like he was 14.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, do me a favor, check his ID, and then get him whatever the hell he wants to drink.
yeah.
At one point, I look over, he has a bottle of Blanton's with like a third left in it.
Probably has
Not
no
that he had
idea.
2/3 of it, but it just, we
Someone
gave
probably
him
let
something.
him finish it off.
And I look over, and he's just belting shit out.
Yeah,
And I'm like, this kid is killing it.
And-
I think, Nick, I got $100 from you in cash. And I was like, give this kid whatever to keep him going.
he
Like,
put it in his waistline.
Did we?
and
Did
then when he left, he was like, I'm sorry, I have to leave y'all. I have prom in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry. What was one of the 2 imperatives I asked you to do? Get him whatever he wants, and then also, and I think either you or Dante were like, check his ID. And it's like, which one of those did
Yeah.
we not fucking do?
He
Yeah.
may have showed
Probably
up with
both
it.
of them.
He showed up with
No
it.
one checked his ID.
No one gave him
I
a bottle
think
of Blanton's from us.
It was patently obvious he was in high
The
school.
lawyer agrees.
Or maybe
Yeah,
I
it
didn't.
would have been Woodford if it came from us.
Maybe I didn't
Right.
know. he
Courtesy
was
of
in-
Michael Parks.
He was in high school.
Parks only brings the Woodford to the
Yeah.
scene. So
Oh no! Was that the year that we got a case of
the
it
misspelled
was
law firm's
6
name.
liters of Woodford that
'Cause
was
do you remember
misspelled? Oh my god!
They were supposed to go to a law firm who won a big case, but they misspelled one letter
Yeah.
on the law firm's name.
No
so
no regrets.
So it went, to the waste bin,
we
which was
got
us.
some Woodford, which is
Yeah.
great.
We were a whiskey trash can. That
Well, I
year.
think before we go any further, we have to give a shout out to Michael Parks, who has
Yep, another team
unequivocally been the MVP from, I guess, his first year till now, just from
Behind Clint, you mean?
behind Clint, but staying out there the entire time and just always supplying us with alcohol, whether
Yep.
it's wine, whether it's Woodford, whatever it is. He comes through every year with it. Crawfish.
Yep. He's
So, we got to give Mike Parks his due.
he's the Johnny on the spot for
Yes.
sure.
The
And-
crawfish boil years were pretty awesome.
But I think that's
Friday night
why-
crawfish boil was pretty
Yeah.
badass.
Yeah, and I think Parks is an example. And when you talk about Parks, talk about Rafa, even anyone on our team, you name it, Eric. We got
Steve,
Esteban now
Dante.
this year. So, and I think it's common among other teams. Hogs, because of what it is, because that every dollar you raise at Hogs for the Cause. Whether it's someone that actually goes to the festival, buys a ticket, whether it's somebody that goes on our website, deadpork.org, and donates there or donates directly to Hogs, like it's going to help families battling pediatric brain cancer, right? So everyone gives a shit, and everyone
Let's
on our
put Clint
team
on the spot. Who's been the Deadpork MVP from the last 3 seasons overall?
Well, you're only going back 3? Go the whole 9.
everybody.
All right, all-time, non-Clint, Deadpork MVP.
Wow.
Fuck you.
Well, I guess the whole team's going to be
There-
listening now.
Well, there's only a few real contenders, I think. Steve's got to be in the mix. Parks has to be in the mix.
Dante's in the mix.
Dante's in the mix.
To me,
Rafa's in the mix.
Dante and Parks, to me.
Yeah.
Dante
I
would
would
Another one
radically agree with that. I think
Yeah.
Flies in from
Parks from an operational, like how to operationalize it. Parks is that Swiss Army knife of
Andy's there
Hey.
like 48 straight hours.
It's his. Let's be honest. It's his Super Bowl.
he's admitted that's
Yeah.
his Super Bowl, and what he does that in like the week leading up to where we have gaps, he is like a magician to just fill the gaps.
You can say Madman. That's fine. I think that fits.
That-
He would appreciate that too.
I was gonna say a little bit something else, but for those of you that don't know Parks, will forgive his proclivities. Dante.
Deadpork legend.
From a fundraising, like he's our CFO, he's the person who knows how to like CPA, MBA, like he knows how to navigate all of the.
Did you say he's not coming this year?
He's not, which
Oh,
is
shit, what
like
happened? So what's he doing?
So he took a new job. He was the chief gabagool officer for
A
something.
hockey team or something, wasn't he?
No,
take
he
that
was with
job?
the Flyers.
The
then
Flyers,
he was
that's what I
with Primo Hoagies, like that entire like think like Subway, but
Yeah.
specific to Hoagies. So he was their chief gabagool officer, like their,
I like how
essentially.
you neg him a little bit there.
Yeah. And anybody who doesn't know Dante, like he is 5'7". He's shaped like a human meatball.
All
the
of us
greatest
are.
human being.
a little more svelte last year.
He is.
know?
He's been in shape.
It's the fun thing about seeing somebody once a year. You're just kind of like,
Oh
all right.
God, yeah.
One year
He's-
his hair was long as hell. One year he had the beard.
So he doesn't live in town, everybody. Just FYI.
So he's in
he comes
Philly.
in for this all the time.
And that's why
every
he's
year.
an MVP. He flies in from Philly every single year.
Yeah, he flies in. He puts in work.
Max and him always talk very amicably about Saints and Eagles, especially over the group me.
And WrestleMania.
We do have great wrestling conversations.
Yeah, y'all
Yeah.
do talk good about it. But if you want to see some good back and forth on the group, check out their. Well, nobody can check it out, but
Please
y'all
don't.
Saints.
So who
and
is it?
Eagles
Who's the
talks.
end all? Is it Dante or
It's
is
a
it
1A,
Parks?
1B.
It's
my
1A,
humble
1B. I mean,
yeah, it's 1A,
honestly,
1B.
if you look at from a.
But
our
those
co-
are your two.
Our core mission for
Yeah.
what we do is to raise money for pediatric brain cancer. Like
I know
specific to
Dante
Hogs.
gets behind a lot of stuff. So that's
Dante is
Corey's a little upset right here. I think he feels slighted, but
I know my role.
no. I mean, Parks is the
You're behind
Swiss
Travis.
Army knife of making shit
Yeah.
happen. Dante is the I'm going to raise
awesome. Fundraiser guy.
yeah.
a
Which
couple
is the most
$1,000 a
important
year.
part, probably.
And
right? That's the whole
100%.
thing.
There's no delay with Dante between his thought and action on the fundraising element. I think he's just he handles money for a living, but he's just so comfortable with like reaching out to people, especially even if
Yeah.
it's Philly. So Dante even started Deadpork Northeast because
Yeah.
he got a bunch of his friends so kind of into what we were doing. We have really strong branding and stuff. Like the logo, I don't know who came up with that, but looks pretty damn good. It
it's
sells, it slaps, and so we'll post it on
Yeah.
the Twitters. But his friends love our merch. We got T-shirts and hats, and they're all about it. Like they set up a tailgate for an Eagles game, or was it a Phillies game? I think.
Eagles, Phillies, they're doing a
But-
couple events per year.
Yeah.
Shout out to Greg, Dante's buddy, who is spearheading that. He's a dumb shit who's having a kid. So
We can also shout out Super Greg for the entertainment value.
Yeah,
of
absolutely.
what he brings
Another-
to the table.
Absolutely.
It's basically like the whole team. It's kind of like the opposite of what we've been bemoaning with the Saints. Like it's a whole team of MVPs. Everybody's got their exact role that they do
Except
really
me.
well.
Except me.
Come on, you got your
listen, we park
We
Barry
tap you for
at-
certain things,
at
right?
your office.
That's true. Barry does live at my house.
Yeah, I mean, you house the child of the team.
I mean, I don't feel like you could cook on Barry.
But you'd be
you can.
surprised.
You
You'd
can
be
try.
surprised.
Yeah.
So-
You'd be surprised.
You know what? Next year, Deadpork turns 10. Nick runs the
All right,
menu.
I'll run Barry.
We need to
Next
confirm
year.
that we
do it.
turn 10. I don't want to get my hopes about the Hog of Fame, and then
Actually,
I think
we should go ahead and implement a Hall of Fame for year 10 and go ahead and start inducting. So you're going to have
Deadpork.
to decide who you want, Dante or
Deadpork Hall of
Parks.
Fame?
Yeah,
Well,
You're gonna need faces on T-shirts, dude.
yeah.
We're gonna have to have merch about this.
What a great way to
So-
build team morale. Just pit each other again.
I need a T-shirt with Parks' face on it. That's all I'm saying.
Year
We
10.
got team members. I should have made the Hall of Fame. I can't believe you got in.
Well, I'll say this: as good as our branding is with Deadpork, it doesn't match the influencer shirt with Corey's face on it,
Oh my
So,
god.
which is
what is the
quite
origins
possibly
of...
the greatest T-shirt ever.
That may be the most hungover any human being has ever been.
So again, you can find that shirt at
Deadpork.
It's available.
Deadpork.org/merchandise.
There's been some rough T-shirts too. Matt's,
No, I mean
Matt's
this
40th.
one. This is
Yeah.
this is. Oh yeah. I
What
mean,
about
we,
Matt's 40th?
We forgot about original. Well, not original,
my
but
God.
early team.
What do we call it? Matapalooza?
Matapalooza.
Matapalooza
Yeah.
was
that
a
was
big
the
T-shirt.
karaoke year. That year had everything.
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah,
That was a great year.
Was
Yeah.
that the same?
that to me is the high water mark that year.
Well, in terms of like our Friday night organization, like we just kind of let the pedal down on the Friday nights because it's just hard.
And from my perspective, I feel like that year from a Friday night was when we were really in our groove where we did really good food. It was one team, one fight.
Yeah.
And we just had so much fun. Like
Yeah.
it was just everyone was on the same wavelength. And not that we're not there now, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Was Justin there that year?
Justin was there that
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
That was 2018.
He was there.
Like everybody was just in it to win it. And Nick, to your point, like we were 10 by 10.
Yeah.
You have
For
60,
those who haven't been, that is a tiny spot.
It's
A
an
little
that is
turn
a,
that could.
that
For
is a
like
prison
two-
cell.
Yeah.
Two tailgating tents.
Just trying to put out food in that little thing is difficult.
Is impossible. And then you're competing with 60 by 80 tents
Right.
that have two
Two
stories
floors, yeah.
that spend $200,000 in production
Right.
Yeah.
to have Manny Fresh play.
Correct.
For us to be
We
in
wish they would give
competition
that
with
to the
them,
kids' cancer, but Manny Fresh is important.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's what you're looking at as the competition for Friday night parties. I mean, this year you got Chapa's going to be in one tent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Look, I'm not knocking it all. That's awesome
No,
because it brings
it's-
people to this thing,
But-
and that's the best.
But like, you get name brand artists, famous New Orleans like rappers, musicians, whatever. That's why it's even better what we did.
Yeah.
You know, we rigged up karaoke by a thread. On that,
yeah.
on that, I
We
remember
had
driving,
a 10-inch stage.
driving
Okay?
back from the North Shore and having to go to the Walmart because there was literally like one cord I figured out that we needed, like one aux cord that we actually needed to hook up like a phone
Well,
to
Greg had all the
something.
speakers out there, and
But we were still down to like one cord, and
Yeah.
I realized like after we set it up, I'm like, if we didn't have this one cord that I
Yeah.
stopped at the Covington Walmart to get on the way down here, this would literally not have happened.
Yep.
it was awesome. What was it, a few years ago? The lead singer, Living Color, who was he playing with? Was it actually Living Color he was playing with?
No.
With Galactic?
Yes. So
Okay.
he was with, oh God, Esteban knows.
He was so good.
He,
Oh my god.
Corey Glover from Living Color?
Yes.
yes.
Oh, shit, I missed
Esteban
that.
You
knows.
laughed. You laughed. He was awesome.
Hey, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he did when, and Corey can talk to this, but for 3 years we were partners with Southern Food and Beverage Museum, and then Corey Glover, is that right?
Yeah.
He did a bunch of shit with some of Dante's friends from Philly, and like they had a whole partnership of like this weird synergy of Dante knew people in Philly and Corey Glover and whatever. Like it was just one of those weird culminations of
He's randomly tight with the Galactic guys. I know
yeah,
that. Yeah.
And they were all involved at SoFab. They did like a big concert. They did what was the oh
The
god,
juke joint thing?
the juke joint thing.
That's
Yes,
so bad. They had a whole.
they did a
built-
whole event, and it was
Yeah.
one of those weird things. Like we know common people, and it just like we helped get people in the door, and it was like a synergy of just knowing the same people.
that was
somehow.
a great Friday night, actually. That
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah, it was. Getting back to, let's see. You talked about when we started, but like, what is it? I remember when I joined, I felt like, I'm used to, I'm hanging around attorneys all day at work.
Sorry.
I come into a group
Yeah.
of guys that like know everything about food and how to make food, but not just like grilling and because everyone's like, oh, hogs, smoking meats, grilling. Tell me about the background of the team for those who don't know. Like, what is it that makes us click with like being able to bring different types of dishes? You know, like everyone has a restaurant background, more or less, right?
I mean, it's very obviously me.
It is, Clint. That's fair. And the Hogs retreat every year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Sponsored by Nick
But even if
Lachey.
it's not like back of house, I mean, even with Max's experience, Nick's,
No,
and
I mean,
Justin's.
It started, honestly, it stems from Restaurant August.
Yeah.
Where me, Clint, and Justin all worked together. And then it just,
Justin?
two groups of friends coming together because through me, he meets Nick, he meets Greg, he meets you. And then through him we get Rafa, we get Eric,
Dante.
Dante came from Rafa, so
we all knew
John
Parks.
Betch's restaurants for like years.
Yeah. Which is, I'm always impressed by, like, you talk about Rafa's ideas. So I'll speak to this part of it. Like, every year we come up with, every team comes up with a menu. Some teams are simple. They're just like, here's pulled pork ribs. Pork puree is a category. It's a play on words, obviously, but it's kind of like, what's the craziest thing you can make with pork as an ingredient as a dish?
That's where some of Rafa's ideas, I think, actually are good.
But Clint, though...
Some have been good.
Yeah.
Some have been
Scotch egg's bad.
less
Scotch
than
egg's
good.
bad.
Let him do it. But Clint every year comes up with... We've had some stalwarts, but you pretty much come up every year with a cohesive menu. So I want to get into this year's menu. This year, we decided to go with Taylor Swift theme.
Kudos to Matt Rafa, because he said we should do something Taylor Swift inspired.
I was going to ask, like, because I don't even know if I knew. You just said we were doing it. I was like, okay.
Well, and I will acquiesce and say, whose car is that?
Not mine.
I don't know.
I don't think it's mine. If my car's not there when we leave, then
Good old-
it's
I'll
mine.
give you a ride. It's fine.
This is good
he's
old
right down the street.
New Orleans streets, guys.
But no, I mean, I think it was Rafa saying we should do something Taylor Swift inspired, and I was like,
I think it's kind of funny. It's almost like weirdly on brand, too.
Yeah,
it's so.
The first time you told me, honestly, it was kind of like that Ryan Reynolds gift when he's wearing the scrubs. And
But
you're like,
why?
But why?
But why?
That's
Yeah.
that's my first. But the more I kind of leaned into it, I'll let you.
Well, and I feel like we're very good, at least from my chair, my take, like my perspective is, the only thing I'm very serious about is us not taking ourselves seriously. I feel like we're gonna have the most fun out there. We're not gonna be the biggest team. We're not gonna be the most fundraising profitable team, but we're gonna do like just really good food. We're gonna feel confident about what we're doing. So when
It's
Matt
going to be
said,
fun. I think that's what you
Yeah,
gotta
we're going to
say.
try to
It's
raise
gonna be
as
fun.
much as we can, but
And
it's
you're going to sell out of food because it's fun. That's always been the narrative. Greg out front with the horn, just yelling at everybody, having a great time. It's fun. And I think that's where the brand kind of falls. So I think it's kind of a funny twist on what you've done the whole time because it's you.
and thank you for shaping that, because I think that also like puts into perspective, like we're here to, when somebody said Eras Tour or like Taylor Swift, I'm like, let's do Eras Tour. Let's just really embrace the stupidity of having what I would wager is the first Taylor Swift pun-based menu in competition barbecue history. Like, let's just embrace the stupidity.
Because I wanted to ask, like, so run down, that. Like, I mean, the menu was incredible.
Well, first and foremost, like, I think after 9 years of doing this, we want to do food that we're proud of, that we think is going to be really good.
You want to make food people like. That's all you care about.
It's going to be really good food, and honestly, like, the people that we have in our team can cook their dicks off. Like, they're really good cooks.
Yeah.
So, literally, Nat and I talked about the flank space tacos in the parking lot here. Like, we're a week out from Hogs, and we just hammered out a dish. That is insane.
Yeah.
The fact that we're saying, we're going to do sous vide flank steak. We're going to do a, like, Tabasco cotija kind of crema, and then do a bone marrow chimichurri with, like, shaved radish on top.
Yeah. When you sent me the graphic and I saw marrow chimichurri, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be another marrow chimichurri out there.
And
I saw that, I'm like, Nat.
Yeah,
You're not wrong. Like,
Nat is definitely like, he brings it with the, we can call it creativity.
Well, hey, to his credit, right now, he is literally, that's what
out.
He's doing for work.
Sure, yeah.
He's catering out of his own kitchen.
That's right, yeah. And he's really good.
He can cook, man. He can really
When we
cook.
did one of the dinner party series at SoFab, and he put together like the 37-piece salad.
oh my God.
It was
guess what? It was damn good.
It was damn good.
Some have said that salad
say.
has never been completed. But no, I mean, like, to your point of the menu, like, we don't work on the entire Hogs menu throughout the entire year. It's one of those things, like, we know we can cook. We put together everything starting like 1 month out, and then it's a confluence of everyone who's working together as a team. And we just put that menu together, and we're like, let's cook our dicks off, man. Like, let's go put good food out. Let's have fun. Let's not take it seriously, and just go have a really good 4 or 5 day stretch.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, from my perspective, like, that's how it's really fun, and that's where the best part of my year with Hogs and that entire nonprofit is when I get to hang out with my friends and just cook.
That's what I was going to say.
And almost do like free flow jazz of cooking.
You're trying to sit there and cook just to be in the environment of cooking with everybody.
Yes.
That's the most fun.
Yes.
And it's going to be amazing when you cook it. It is every year. The food's always awesome. Everything y'all pick sells out every year.
Yep.
It's the environment's really the vibe.
Yeah.
It's whatever menu items you pick. I know we've done things where everyone pick a dish, you make it, then we pick the dishes. There's been years we crash course it at the end that you've put together. Either way, everyone's sitting there cooking together and having a good time, and the food comes out amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and throwing it back to 2018, why it was such an epic year. Remember, we had just closed a restaurant. Mm-hmm. So we had the prosciutto leg.
The prosciutto leg, yes.
All of that we were able to bring out to the event itself. And there's that badass picture of Dante.
That was our social media, right? Our social media year.
He made Noah.com.
Yeah, and it was picked up.
Well,
right.
see, that was such a perfect storm of all these like really cool things happening that really lent itself to being the best.
I think
my
that
favorite
was
year of it.
Kind of a springboard year, because it's like we had all those good things come together. So like for the next year, I felt like definitely the year after that we were trying to like outcompete what we just did.
Yeah.
But it at least like kind of set a standard. We were like, wait. We can, this is the level we can get to with this stuff, and it kind of gave us something to reach for, every subsequent year, and I think that's why
I remember Justin being excited. We won something.
Yeah,
Oh my God!
Like he was so pumped. But you're competing, just for context, this little group. You're competing with like
restaurants,
right?
Like 90-something teams, yeah.
But huge teams that have unlimited backing and fundraising that.
And a lot of professional chefs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And from the cooking standpoint, you're going against professional chefs. From the fundraising standpoint, you're going against big companies that can raise money so easily comparatively because they're so big. And we've got, just 10 or 12 random guys just having a good time cooking. And to get recognized that year that y'all are talking about, I do think that was like the year that where Clint has kind of taken it from there and run with it. But it was amazing to actually win awards being so small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
there's a famous/infamous picture of Justin and I, like, ugly crying. We're like a 2-person tripod, so hammered.
Quick pause. If I'm going all in on Barry next year, Justin's got to be here. So...
Yep.
Little trek down from Nashville next year, Justin.
We know you're listening,
put
Justin.
this out there. So Julie, his wife's birthday is always the same weekend as Hogs. Hogs is delayed 1 week this year. There is literally no reason he can't make it down.
Oh, you're talking shit.
Shots
I'm just going to say, Justin,
sorry, Justin.
If he didn't tell you on the
might
phone,
be a bitch.
He knew he would have you on the podcast.
Yeah. I think for at least year 10,
everyone's got to be.
Justin is one of my single favorite human beings on the planet, including my children.
Where does he rank in the children?
I mean,
Nick's like, you gave us an MVP of the team, I give us an MVP of friend plus kids.
Nick is just putting him on the spot tonight, man.
I would say, like, if you look at it
Nick
from a
wants
Fight Club perspective,
singularity.
Justin's a prohibitive favorite, but also, like, They're 2 and 4 years old.
Look, y'all are one and the same for like many years for me. So like y'all have been so tight. It's like,
oh my God. Like we were in Asheville a few weeks ago. Julie couldn't make it to his work trip, so I was his work wife.
That's about right.
Nice.
We shared a king-size bed. It was not awkward at all. It's the 20th time we've shared a bed.
Well, time out. So for everyone listening,
time.
that is not the first time that they have shared a bed.
This year.
My bachelor party was the first time we witnessed
they
it.
once shared a bed with Corey.
And Corey got into the mix that time, too.
Yeah. Allegedly.
He was the pillow.
Yeah, Corey, by the way, you have a lot of post-edit cuts to make on this episode.
Nope.
No, we won't cut.
I believe it's pronounced menage a
That's
trois.
just how close everybody is.
Yeah.
I think
No,
that's
we just-
awesome.
Nothing happened. You know, it was fine.
Sure.
To be
Anyway.
fair, y'all got in at 8 a.m. So it was only about a 2-hour nap before y'all
From,
were
like,
up and
Yeah.
The beach? Because
Yes.
that was like the infamous. Not infamous
Well, we
but,
probably
like,
shouldn't get too deep into this.
But we just don't. Well, those first few years, we just don't. We didn't go anywhere. It was like we just stayed at the condo the entire time.
We never go anywhere. We just,
But you stayed out all night on the beach.
I guess,
And
yeah.
That
We did.
first year was...
Just talking, man.
That was with Kevin. Kevin.
Kevin.
God,
This
that
is
was
pre-Steve.
hilarious.
This was Kevin era.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was absolute insanity of...
That was a fun
We
trip.
were doing, like, drinking... Oh, my God, I'm so embarrassed to say this. We were drinking Sutter Home White Zinfandel on the beach in Orange Beach in Alabama.
in his 30s.
I mean, sounds about
Probably
right to
at
me.
4 a.m.
To be fair,
And all of us
the
were
Sutter
like, this is
Home,
a bad idea.
Yeah.
It flows like
Most of the time,
What's the phrase?
That
Down in
combination
Alabama?
is. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say most of the time that is a bad combination.
It was bad.
bad
It
idea.
It was a good combination that weekend.
That was...
Greg was so sunburned it would like hurt my eyes.
Dude, I can still picture Greg with the spatula and the sunblock putting it on his back.
He did not
He had
succeed.
spatula
with that.
tan lines on his back. for
Yeah,
like
it
a
was
month.
hilarious, man.
Was
Yeah.
this the year you woke up and said, "Where's Greg?"
No,
And we're like,
that was
right
the
next to
year.
you.
That was the next year. That was when
Yeah.
Greg and I got there about 6
Yeah.
hours early, and yeah.
At least we.
Where's Greg?
Well,
right
honestly,
next to you.
speaking of the beach trip, I mean, at least we got in the Saints games on the beach trip. I think that's kind of where like the genesis of this really.
We watched
Kinda.
a bunch of soccer.
I mean,
'cause
y'all
it was
have always
the summertime
debated-
that
Yeah.
year. We were watching the
That was
World
the
Cup.
James Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. So it would have been 2012.
Yeah.
2012, right?
No. 14.
14.
But I think it was the
14,
first time we
2014,
realized that like
correct.
people like to watch. Maybe not.
It
me.
would happen every
I was
beach
more
trip.
moderate, but we would just like kind of get their popcorn out when y'all two started going at it. It
Yeah.
was like and
Brandon
then-
Cooks that year.
So like
And
last year, we were
it's-
kind of like, huh?
Well, it's just funny because people can't grasp that he and I, for the past 35 years at this point, can just yell at each other about a topic as mundane as the Saints or college football, whatever it may be.
as
and
important as the Saints.
as important.
Mundane.
And then 5 minutes later, we're fine.
Yeah. I mean, like
There's zero emotion in our
because
Zero.
the newcomer probably doesn't understand the frequency with which you use the word idiot or you're
That's a compliment
and it's
between
just
me and Matt.
right. And so like you come across it like remember my first year, I'm like, pretty intense. And then by the next year, the year after that, when the infamous Kelvin Benjamin, Brandon Cooks high pointing a ball debate came out.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was all those. And,
So
so
to
it's
your
like two
point-
things come out, like podcasty stuff comes out of that,
Yeah.
and Deadpork stuff comes out of that. And
So,
it's,
Because it's the same crew
Yeah.
at its core.
yeah,
you know.
so the whole Hogs team conversation came out
from
of
that.
the beach trip.
Right.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it was what? What was
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
that's
beach
right,
trip?
you're right.
2014, 15?
14.
14 was the first one.
So-
it was that year. It was
Yeah.
the year
Yeah.
we drafted.
Yeah, it
Brandon
was at the
Cooks
Phoenix
and-
West 2.
Yes, we were in Gulf Shores.
There were 1,000 bottles of bourbon consumed. And that was
Blender mashed
when
potatoes.
Justin,
take
Max,
the
and I,
over on
and
that.
Nick, you were in that conversation too of we should do a team for Hogs.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've got some experience. Let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And then I think
But
it was
it-
the next year we finally got it off the ground.
You did, yeah.
I
I think
know-
like
Well, hold on. We got to give Justin a little more credit because
No,
initially
he was instrumental, yeah.
He
it was Clint and Justin were going to run. It was their team.
yeah.
and they
The rest
did.
of us kind of jumped into it.
in
And
after you.
as it's grown, you've taken it to where it is now.
Yeah.
We've all come in and out a little bit and helped when we could, and Corey and Max have done way more than I have, and Dante and all those guys have done 10 times more than I have. But
Also, I mean, like I have twin 2-year-olds who have done more than
Clint's
you.
tired.
So.
It's becoming
He's very tired.
Increasingly
very tired.
harder to.
But no, I mean, to your point, Max,
to keep it together through all that, like you get all the respect for that, and you've kept a bunch of idiots, all of us, in line for the most part.
Yep.
If you can control parks, you can control anything.
You don't control parks. You just kind of point them in a direction.
You let them control very loosely. Yeah. Just
look, Nick and I have known parks since 2001, 2002 when we all worked at Bella Luna together. There's no control in parks. No. You just point them in a direction and say go.
He's incredible.
Yeah. But I guess to circle it back to what Corey was asking, the question 10 minutes ago, it probably started off at a Restaurant August, and then it kind of went to the beach trip, and then that's where it just blew up.
It kind of just started like picking up more members. Not that
that's where you decided to
so
do
many
it.
of us, but
But you had all the guys y'all were close to, like Adam Biederman and all those guys who were in it very early on.
Yeah.
And
you remember me and Phil were judges for like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a lot more fun doing this.
What was the first year of it?
Was that was before you could sign?
Probably 08.
That was before you could sign up to be a judge.
07, 08.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I remember you and I.
That was when
I was at Rombla.
It was at City Park back then.
The first.
No, it was at
the Fly.
The Fly.
I went to the first
one.
one.
The Fly, but then they did one out by Tag.
I was on a team the second year when I did it at the rugby field.
Yeah, but at the Fly, it was like 110.
The Fly was year one.
Yeah, year
They
one.
did 2 years at the Fly.
They did 2 years at the Fly. Okay.
They moved to City Park at some point.
Yeah. It was City Park. First, it was the quote unquote rugby field over by City Park, the dog park.
I think that was year
then
three.
I think they had 1 year there, maybe 2, but then it went to the festival grounds. Or I think they call it festival grounds or whatever
I'd have to look at the email. Course. That was like 5. That was I think we were in as Deadpork on year 8.
Wow. It was that far?
No, that's about right, because it's 2015, so 2007 would have been the first.
Shit.
There's some teams that have been doing it for a long time. I know, like, Porkenheimer, there's a team called Captain Porkenheimer, and then, so, like, anyone, again, who's not familiar with Hogs, if you go to the Hogs website, you can see the list of all the teams. Almost every team has a hog pun. Some of the names are just freaking
There's some great
hilarious.
names.
I mean, ours comes after a movie, but other teams are just, like, the puns
Our
are
name doesn't
insane.
do justice, but our logo is...
It slaps.
I
mean, the brand. Well, that's kind of like why it was easy. Like once we really took the social media and started pushing it, especially on Instagram, like the logo and the branding make that effort just insanely easier or just seamless.
Yeah,
because you can.
I'll say this: Clint and I went to see Deadpool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the theater, and we went it was like 1 PM. Yeah, we both like turned to each other and were like, "Deadpork." Like it has to just be that.
Justin has never recovered from that conversation.
Between Barry and
oh my god,
he's not happy about Barry.
If you had to go away for a year and you're like, Justin, you got the team this year. I know you're in Alabama, but like you run things.
No,
like
he's not in Alabama anymore.
I mean, Tennessee. But it's like when you come back, you would just see like camouflage everywhere.
There would be no Barry. Barry would be renamed.
With all respect, but
it would be a radical rebrand of just World War II paraphernalia, you name it. But he's never really embraced it. But honestly, like I think from a visual branding perspective, that logo is
perfect,
on point.
It's perfect.
Yeah,
I don't think there's many teams that have like that visual logo that says, "Oh my god, we know exactly who they are."
It's like brand recognition, just that it's core.
Yeah, it is. Our branding is top notch. It really is.
Yeah, and also kudos Corey for like that social media presence has been fantastic. For
what was the high point finish for social media?
Third. Our first only stage call.
Absolutely insane for something our size. Because rightfully so.
Social media is not as much size.
But I agree. But they should lean to the biggest fundraisers, right? For everything. That just makes sense. You're trying to raise money. The biggest fundraiser should get the most credit. They deserve all the credit. To get third in anything is incredible.
We were kind of shocked.
That's an incredible thing.
Well, it's also the first year they did a social media category, but
we had no idea.
The trick was, I call it a trick because it wasn't announced before Hogs that year that social media was
going to be even a category.
Right. So they announced it on stage, and And so,
be honest. Do you think you had a shot when they announced it on stage?
I thought we had a shot at like top 10 getting our name called.
What, year one?
Yeah, the social media year. Because we were one of not. If you remember, like not many teams were actually pumping out stuff. Like Piglet was doing the memes. Pork Hub hadn't like really.
It's a great name, by the way.
So we talked about doing that.
They ripped us off. We had that logo.
Yeah, I remember. We circled it around.
Or did we get top 10 for a year before? No, because we got 3.
No, it's the last 2 years.
Got 3 the first year. So no, Pork Hub.
We did 3.
Pork Hub was second
and 5
that year. Piglet was 1. But there just weren't more than 10 teams really doing a social media effort that year.
They did a top 6.
But there was enough, right?
Yeah.
So I thought we'd be like top 10, but once they started with 6 and I didn't hear our name called by 4, I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe I thought it was good, but maybe, probably not. And then, and we know that the way the festival works with all the barbecue categories, they announce typically the top 10, sometimes more, sometimes less. But if you're top 3, then you and your teammates get to go up on the main stage of Hogs and receive your trophy, and the 2 founders and current guy. What is Andy's title? I don't know. CFO. Okay, but I thought they gave him a different title or something. But
they have a rotating board.
Zandy, Becker, and Renee.
Yeah,
are all up there, so we knew that was what we would get if we got top 3. So, but we didn't think we were top 3 because we didn't get called starting with 6. Then they yelled Deadpork at 3, and it was me, Dante, and Rafa. That was the 1 year. That you did. I mean, everybody left. Everybody left. You were spent that year.
He was sleepy.
That was one of those years where everything else was shit.
I was done with the weekend.
That was a bad year, except for social media. Apparently,
yeah. It was. I think that was the first year that we said we don't really care about competition. Yeah. Let's just go do our own thing.
That's the only way to do it. You got to make what you want and just put it out there.
Competition's a crapshoot these days.
And to your point, Nick, we're here to have fun.
Right.
Let's raise a lot of money for a really good cause.
The goal's not trophies; it's to raise money.
And let me say this: as a former judge, I don't know shit about barbecue.
Now,
so I'm just telling you, the competition part of it's
didn't you judge even before they started opening judging to sign up? You couldn't buy judging tickets when you judged, right? Wasn't it?
They asked us.
That's what I'm saying.
When they were at the beginning, they asked them.
Even at the beginning, they at least asked the judges. Now you can be a regular
to be fair,
civilian
did go
and just buy a ticket.
Restaurant people to be judges.
But
to be fair, now that's not even necessarily the case.
Yeah, that's why even more reason now that no offense, Becker, Renee, but
I was going to say, let me clarify to Renee, Becker, Zandy, this is not an indictment on your entire system. Just there's fuzz in the judging system, and
But if here's my stance on that. If you can sell tickets and raise more money, then who cares?
They have a system to where
the primary function of that entire organization is to raise money,
as it should be.
Right. I mean, what we do as a nonprofit for DP endeavors is to raise money.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have the best item and it doesn't rank first, but they raise more money, who cares?
Yeah, that should be the attitude. I think
that's how we need to think about all.
You
of it.
sometimes get people that get so wrapped up in wanting the pride of the ribs that I cooked were ranked blank out of 90 teams. I'm not going to say
we had this talk.
Ever been guilty of that when I,
it's upsetting. Let's be honest.
But then you have to have that bigger view, be able to step back and say
And we talked to Justin about this on one of the beach trips. It's not about.
It's about raising money for
we're here to raise money
and having fun.
Whatever that works.
Exactly.
If you think ours is the 60th best or the 10th best or whatever, it doesn't really matter. If it brought more people to the grounds and they spent more money, then everyone accomplished what the goal is.
Yeah.
So
all the teams are essentially working together for this common goal.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who got first, who got 60th.
There will be little perceived mini competitions, and obviously social media is one that's heated up recently. There's certain restaurants and barbecue type guys who might still feel a little bit of pride if their ribs outrank another guy's ribs. But at the end of the day, everybody knows
what I want to see is
that
who sold the most food per square foot.
That's actually a very good.
I like that.
I would love to see that.
Yeah. If you sell,
Renee,
whatever.
Becker, if you're listening, there you go.
Let's go as
if
per
you can
square
find
foot
someone
sales.
other than the teams to actually audit that, then sure.
Well, they can audit that. They can see what you raised and how big your tent was.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's
easy. The thing is, like,
per square foot of your tent, right? If you've got a 60 by 60, you got to sell 6 times as much as
do
the
it by
10 by 10.
SKU or
it's
by
going to be
dollar?
total sales though. So we're going to auction off and actually maybe put this in post production.
Total sales Friday, Saturday. That's
like
what I'm
we're
talking about.
auctioning off a super high end version of. God damn it! What is the pellet smoker that you have?
Oh, Traeger?
A Traeger.
A Traeger, like a high-end version of that.
Ah.
We're auctioning off one of those. Like, how do you encapsulate not just food sales, but everything you're doing that weekend of?
Yep. And
Well, that's tougher.
But we
That's
also
hard. And also, like,
But I would
during
love to
the
see
year-
the per square foot for food sales. Just straight up food sales. We're selling food. People are going to come back because it's good. They're
That's
going to
a
say,
really-
you need to go check out Deadpork.
that's a fun
That would be a cool
idea of doing that, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a cool way to do it. Because if you're making good food, the people will find it. We know that, right? Everyone who's going there is looking for the best food.
And not
So-
to boost ourselves, but, like, we've never not sold out.
We sold out of everything every
that's.
time.
We
I was going to
sell
say
out-
that's one of the best things we do every year.
Corey and I have had this conversation. Like, we could sell used condoms and still sell out.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That was rather aggressive.
But no, we do.
You mean like boudin, like sausage casing? Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yes. Condoms.
Yes.
Okay.
It's funny. We have crude humor.
We
on
can
the
sell baked clams or.
team. I get it.
So,
no matter what we sell, like we
what you're
always sell
saying
out
is the
because of our
brand
branding.
will draw people to come try everything that we're serving.
Yes.
Right? Because of whatever you've done, social media, the food itself, whatever it is.
Our
So,
menu-
like,
yeah.
what are you producing on site per square foot of your tent? If you're pumping out more per foot, then that should be an award, right? If you're a 10 by 10 and you produce whatever, $2,000.
It's certainly up for consideration.
Wait, we're bigger than a 10 by 10 now.
We're 20 by 20 now.
20 by 20 now.
We're
right.
20 by 20. We do
For 6 years now?
No.
This is our
20 by
third
20,
year.
like,
Third? That's
Yeah.
it?
3.
This is our third year of 20 by 20.
We didn't do 20 by 20 on the...
Did we
How
have-
big was the karaoke year?
20
10 by
10
10,
by 10.
bro.
20
we had the whole back area?
Plaquemines.
No. Yeah.
Because it's
You know what I'm
it was
talking about? Behind us?
because it was along the walkway.
The last
The smoker
two-
wasn't on our plot then.
We didn't have
was
Barry
behind
back then.
smoker.
We didn't have Barry.
We
still
had the
vending
machine.
Yeah.
Right. The vending
Yeah.
machine was behind us, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But no, to your point,
Yeah.
we had a 10 by 10 that we had based upon like how we
They give you
out into that back area.
Yeah.
We had a 10 by 20, so we had a 10 by 10
Right.
as our plot.
Correct.
Then
And
a
we had
10
10
by
feet
20
extras.
behind that.
Right.
They bake in a little bit of like
That was a
back,
cheat
quote
code.
unquote.
That was a
back-
cheat
Well, the thing is, they
Back of
bake
house.
in. They bake in.
Kind of was.
For all the 10 by 10s, when you look at like the main plot, there's a 10 by 10 that backs up to a 10 by 10,
Right.
then a 20 by 20.
Right.
So by default, from a space perspective,
You gain the extra
you have
spot.
a 10 by 10 with a 10 by 10 behind it.
Right.
Yeah, which we took full advantage of. That was we had the casting couch that year.
Oh my God.
Kind of the beginnings of
2018, I would say, was our most fun and
creative.
The couch.
yeah, I mean, that was that 18 or 19? That was 19.
No, it was 18.
No, 18 had
It was Matapalooza, the red
Matapalooza.
shirts.
Yep.
We all had them.
Maybe they're
we
dark
surprised
too.
Matt with the
Crawfish
shirt.
boil.
Are there two
the
years
whole
merging
boil.
together?
We
I
had
don't
the
know.
prosciutto leg.
Yeah,
it was
that was the
2018.
year.
That was the year.
Yeah,
That was
18 was
amazing.
amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
'Covid derailed some shit, but
19, we replicated that, but it wasn't quite as good.
yeah.
And that was also the year the tornado ran through our plot.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
Jesus. Yeah.
Greg
Yeah.
lost his speakers. We lost a whole bunch of
We
stuff.
showed up.
We lost like $3 to $4 grand in
Yeah,
capital that
that
year.
sucked.
Yeah, like and it wasn't an official.
And it sucks 'cause that was a good
EF
party,
anything
too.
tornado.
That
It
was a
just
really
like,
good year.
It was like a wind tunnel just caught
Yeah.
perfectly with all this stuff. Close to wrapping up, but I want to say, okay, every year we have good menu names. This year we did the play on the Taylor Swift song. What is your favorite menu title out of all of them that we have this year? I mean, you put the
Menu
fantastic
item?
video together. Clint won't probably say it himself.
Corey will
but,
post it.
but-
Corey will post
I
it
know
on
it's
socials.
been posted. Clint
Okay.
put
Well, actually,
together.
posted from the 28 to 3.
28 to 3.
Clint
I'm
put
getting
together
on with
our grand menu reveal this year, which was amazing. I mean, just the music it's all Taylor Swift music, lines up perfectly to all of our menu names.
Nick and I will have to take your word for that because I don't know one Taylor Swift song. I don't think.
I don't
does
either. I
Well,
watched the
you-
whole thing.
you do.
What Clint did
You
is
just don't.
amazing. Did you help with
No,
that?
no, Corey.
No,
No,
he did.
Clint did
did
it
all.
all.
Corey.
It was
I,
awesome.
I don't. I don't listen to the radio.
You have heard Taylor Swift songs before.
I have heard Taylor Swift songs, but for me to like connect that to what Clint did is a jump. I'll be honest.
No, he did. I mean,
but I have heard.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I haven't heard Taylor. That's ridiculous.
Can I please add, you are both old, middle-aged human beings
and grumpy as shit. Like to be fair, we're on the old side of old.
At least our listeners might not know much about Hogs, but they do know that.
Yes, they're aware. They're aware of how grumpy we are.
Corey, to your question, what is my most proud moment of all of the dishes? So,
because all the dishes are named after song titles.
The lavender thing in the
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Lavender glaze.
So to run down of all of our dishes
instead of lavender haze,
there's you need to clam down, which is a clam-based dish. Hits different as a ceviche version. Not all that together creative, but it also kind of like speaks to doing ceviche at a pork festival.
True.
Flank space.
I think might be
that's
one of my
good.
favorites.
Flank space is great. Lavender glaze is hilarious.
We are never ever getting fat back together. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Anti-Euro
is good too.
I like that one. Wildest greens.
So you can't decide? Is that what you're telling us?
No. I'm just like karma.
Let him plug them all first.
Good to hear him.
Thank you, Max. Karma. Yeah, whatever. Look what you made me chew. It's fine. I would say lavender glaze is probably my favorite.
It's gotta be. It's so good.
It's so puntastic.
I think I think Flank Space was the first one where I was like, ha! Like the second I saw it on screen, like just that visceral flanks instead of blank. That's good.
I didn't get any of them, but the video is fantastic.
It is.
Trust us on this one, Max.
I will.
I'm happy with that video.
It's good.
No, the video is amazing.
It's amazing.
Like we said, we'll
post for anyone listening, we're going to post it from the 28 to 3
and socials.
Anybody in the Hogs world who pays attention to the Hogs social media, which is amazing. Last year was the first year it was an announced category, which is I think I may have been more happy about coming in fifth last year when we knew everybody was gunning for us and knew it was a category. But we got more shit up our sleeve.
Y'all been at the top of that from the jump, which is amazing.
we got 10
Not
days.
Y'all, Corey.
I know, but I can't give him too much credit. We're on a 28 to 3 podcast.
Clint kind of jumped in, and I will say, Clint. Yeah, that's true. You don't want to do that; it's dangerous. Clint kind of jumped in, and I don't want to be like, did you save it this? But you offered the life raft that I think we needed for social media.
Well, Corey has a severe case of ADHD with probably a few other H's.
It's a serious condition.
So we need Clint sometimes to kind of refocus you and say.
Every year it's like, I would, it would be, oh shit, okay, it's a month before Hogs, and then we just like go full in and pump out a bunch of shit, and both of those years was 3 and then 5. I don't know, this year, like you said, Clint, kids are getting older, life is happening more, shit's getting more complicated. So, like, you and I are tag teaming it a lot more this year, consulting with each other. It sounds serious, but it's not. It's social media.
Look,
it's
soon
memes.
there's 5 helpers coming around the bend here.
There's no I in Deadpork.
That's right.
That's the lesson of the day.
So it helps when Clint's like, hey, you want to post this? I'm like, oh, that's great. But let's do that, but let's add this to it. And then it turns into what it turns into.
But I would also add that I think you and I have different approaches to that. Like, I think there's a super fan, like the menu announcement was like a different production level.
Yeah,
like there's beams and like very funny, like topical, like
quick hitters,
quickly digestible things.
Yeah,
versus like long form content that I think we're really working well with together.
Yeah, we did the Sandlot video last year, which was popular.
Is that slapped the appropriate?
I think slapped went hard in the paint.
That was fantastic.
Yeah,
or fantastic.
No, it was.
I'll have to check with.
Even the non-social media guy can get behind that.
We figured out how to put. A lot of teams are doing it where we put the team's logo on like the face of a character in a movie scene. So we did Sandlot, and of course we were Benny the Jet. And our task as Deadpork was to jump over the fence and get the baseball from the clutches of the beast. And all the other kids on the team were all of the other teams at Hogs, and we were the hero. And ended up running away from the dog at the end. But that was just kind of like a thought popped in my head, and like, let's do this. It'll be funny.
At risk of pumping Corey's ego up a little too much, that was probably your finest work.
Yeah, I haven't come up
way better than your Saints takes.
Maybe aside from his daughters, maybe.
There's a few things. My daughter's, of course, being the best one, and
they're pretty good.
And Lizzie. And
I haven't actually met his daughter, so I'm just going to say the Sandlot video is your crowning achievement.
Thanks, Max.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's all fun, and again, it's all for a good cause, so if you have not heard about Hogs for the Cause before and you're listening, or, of course, if you do know about it and you're listening...
Check it out.
Does this sound like a plug? Yeah, it's a plug, because every dollar and cent goes to pediatric brain cancer in Clint.
Deadpork.org/donate.
Deadpork.org/donate. Heard it again. But yeah, like we said, we didn't talk really any Saints on this one except for the little dive into Brandon Cooks and Kelvin Benjamin at the beach.
The thing is,
nor
the
should
Saints
we have,
is where the origination of this came from.
Yeah.
Because on this trip, the whole group of us as one, which we hadn't spent a whole bunch of time together with all of us, turned into Saints debate, then Clint bringing up Deadpork. We should do the whole thing with Justin, them running with it, and that's where it kind of originated. So, it's a connected group of people, and we still have fun together every year, and we want to keep doing it, and we want everybody to come out and support it. Go to the Deadpork tent, go eat Clint's food.
Exactly.
Spend a lot of money.
And this money really does move. I mean, you can go to the website of hogsforthecause.org. I mean, they have built entire buildings with state-of-the-art rooms, literally from money raised by this one festival.
Houses for families to stay at while their
things
kids
that did not exist before
Yeah.
are in existence now, strictly because of this festival. And it takes teams like ours, other small teams, and the big teams to all make it work. So that's why I wanted to have you on, talk about all this, all the things that we do, both serious and unserious. But it was fun, Clint. Do you have any parting words?
Closing thoughts.
I'm putting you on the spot now.
Brandon Cooks or Kelvin Benjamin?
You want to talk Saints now for another hour? Because we will.
No, I would just say thank you for having me on. Really, the core of what we do is to raise money for a good cause. We have a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but man, is it ever worth every minute that we spend towards that cause. So, donate towards us or Hogs for the Cause directly. I'll tell you what, every dollar that anyone donates through the 23 podcast, I'll match dollar for dollar.
Wow.
How do we track that? Let's figure out a way. How do
go
we track
through
that?
deadpork.org, and I will make a website dedicated to...
Can you put a note when you donate on Deadpork? Okay.
Yeah.
If you put a note in there.
Just put in like hashtag fuck you Clint and
No, put hashtag 28-3.
Yeah.
And then we'll all get together, we'll match it. If anybody
whatever people donate through this podcast, I will match dollar for dollar.
There you go. Well, I'll join in with you.
We haven't really talked about our follower count, but we just recently hit 1 million subscribers, and they're all really
they're well endowed. They're well endowed, just like Nick. So
yeah.
No, seriously.
But that's amazing. That's
we'll
fantastic.
Jump in if you tag whatever in the donation from Deadpork 28-3. We'll figure out a way to match it and donate to the cause in a week.
Yeah,
week from Saturday.
It has to be very soon.
April 5th and 6th. Yeah.
So we get 10 days. When are we posting though?
It has to be.
You're going to be listening to this within the week of Hogs.
We can post it sooner.
So we can maybe post it sooner.
So
maybe you're going to be listening to this before Easter.
Should we post it Friday?
We'll get this one out there pretty quickly with plenty of time.
So bottom line is you'll have, if you're listening to this now, you will have the link information. You'll know how to get Clint's money if you donate yours.
Just put any kind of 28-3 or
any
fuck
reference
the
whatsoever,
anything like that.
Anything.
We'll figure it out.
A Saints helmet, whatever. Just put something in there.
You know what? Let's embrace chaos. Put my cell phone number in there. If people
I just donated.
Just text me, and I will match it.
We got some crazies that follow us on Twitter. I will say that might not be 1 million, but there are some.
Yeah. You know what? Let's embrace chaos. Let's do it.
This will work.
Just do it.
Clint's like, I could always get a new number. Sure. Why not? Cool. Thank you, Clint, for
next weekend,
jumping on.
Right?
Yeah, come out. Not Easter weekend, the weekend after that. If you show up to UNO on Saturday before Easter, no one will be there.
Come out, free food, free drinks.
Say it.
Say it, man. You got it.
Go ahead, Clint.
And then anybody who comes out who is a sponsor for the 23 podcast.
Yeah.
Come out, free food, free drinks. Let's just embrace chaos and have a lot of fun.
Yep. If you show up to Hogs and mention the podcast that you heard this episode, then we'll know what to do.
Clint's going to get you a shot, probably of Woodford.
We always treat our friends well. So if you show up at Hogs and you say, hey, I listened to y'all's episode about Hogs, then you'll be a friend of ours at that point. But we treat friends well. So with that, we're going to close this one up. Thank you, Clint, for joining us, and thank you, everybody, for listening to this special episode of 20 to 3 podcast.
Thanks, y'all.